Email to mom and dad. Dear mom and dad, I know you understand how much I love you and that I would never go 1 month without a single email or phone call. I explained what happened in this email since June 13th. I was thinking about you both every day. You were always with me. You were always in my heart. Before I detail it, I want you to know that I'm in excellent physical and mental health and emotional health. I feel terrific. I am stronger from what I'm about to describe. Earlier this year, I started running and biking and also joined the gym on Penfield Road called PW Fitness. This decision to join the gym is why you have not heard from me in the last 25 days. On May 30th, I was at the gym on the bench press. I do 3 sets of 10 repetitions with a 30-second pause in between. I count 30 seconds in my head. On this day, I did 1 repetition. As I finished the first repetition on the bench press, a man named Jermaine C. Benman walks up to me. This character, Benman, is approximately 6 feet and 200 plus pounds. I have no doubt that he's a convicted felon and a total degenerate. I also have no doubt that he's a user of human growth hormone or steroids or both, as those illegal substances present anger and temperament control side effects and hair loss. Benman is bald, his arms are abnormal, he looks like a cartoon. On this day, I finished 1 bench press repetition. Benman stops approximately 5 feet from me. He says nothing. He motions rapidly with his right hand from right to left. He wants me to get off the machine. I reply, I will be 30 seconds. I move backward to continue the exercise. Benman straddled me. He is standing over my waistline. I start to rise up, and I'm about to ask him, what are you doing? I didn't get a chance to say one word. Benman raised his right hand and punched downward. His fist landed on my jaw, my head snapped back, my glasses flew off, and my right hand prevented me from landing on the floor. I now know I can take a violent punch like a champion. This assault had a witness, and the witness told the owner to call the Monroe County Sheriff. I didn't ask the name of the witness. He told me he's never seen anything like this at the gym. Deputy Andrew Reale arrived from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Reale did not say a single word to me in the gym, not even tell me what happened. Reale ordered Benman and I outside. He placed me in the sheriff's vehicle, but he talked to Benman outside. I am thinking, what's going on with this incompetent deputy? Benman is the criminal and I am in the car. It is bizarre. I next told Reale to talk to the witness in the gym. He didn't. Benman approached the sheriff's vehicle I sat in. Reale is behind him. Benman tells me, quote, I want to press charges against you, end quote. I reply, for what? You assaulted me. You are the criminal. Do you recall assaulting me? Benman says nothing. I can tell he is confused. He is an ignoramus. I next say, did this Deputy Reale coach you to say you want to press charges against me? This Deputy Reale is such a manipulative and corrupt officer that he refused to ascertain the facts. I asked him, why are you talking to the criminal and not the victim? I never again want to have to describe myself as a victim, but it is my status that day. I went to the University of Rochester urgent care near my house after the gym, as I had moderate pain in my jaw and neck. The nurse said my jaw was not broken, but recommended I go to the hospital. I didn't. I didn't want to live with the fact that this criminal Benman sent me to the hospital. My jaw bothered me the next day only, and I have not been in pain since, so there is no permanent damage. Since Benman said he wanted to press charges against me, I was charged with harassment second. That is the language on the official document. I don't even know how this stooge Reale arrives at harassment second. It is ludicrous. I also don't know yet if Benman was even charged with assault. I will find out as soon as possible. The day after this assault, I wrote a letter to Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter to detail the appalling behavior of Deputy Reale. I sent it certified. On June 13th, I appeared in Penfield Town Court before Judge John P. Lomenzo Jr. to answer harassment second. Penfield Town Court is not a building, Mom and Dad. It is inside the Penfield Public Library where Laura used to work. It is a single room down the hall. I've never heard of a court inside of a library. Before court began, I'm obviously pleading not guilty to harassment second. I was appointed a public defender. I met this public defender 5 minutes before I appeared before Judge Lomenzo. The public defender knew nothing about my appearance. I was forced to explain it in less than 5 minutes. I'm thinking this is justice in Havana, Cuba. and this public defender is totally useless. I stood in front of Judge Lomenzo. He did not ask me one question about the Bettman assault. He found me guilty of harassment second. It is a disgusting abridgment of my constitutional and civil rights. I looked over at the prosecutor. She said not one word. She was looking down the whole time. I don't know if she was indifferent or embarrassed for the pathetic spectacle of this Judge Lomenzo finding me guilty of this charge. I have her name, and I will call her today or tomorrow to ask her, why did you not say one word when you were my prosecutor? Is it because you understood I'm not guilty of this manufactured charge? That day, June 13th, Lomenzo signed an order of protection directing me to, quote, stay away from Jermaine L. Bettman and from the home, school, business, and place of employment of Jermaine C. Bettman, end quote. It is a ludicrous document. I want to know if this Judge Lomenzo signed an order of protection ordering Bettman to stay away from me. I'll find that out as well, Mom and Dad. Since this Judge Lomenzo found me guilty of harassment second, I was placed in handcuffs and leg irons and taken to Monroe County Jail. I am thinking, is this the United States of America? When did my constitutional rights vanish? How can a town judge in a library send me to jail? I know it is extremely difficult for you both to read that I was taken to jail, but I have to tell you where I've been since June 13th. You must know. As you are the best mom and dad. When I arrived at the jail, I wore an orange jumpsuit. I could not use the phone. But even if I had access to it, I would not have used it. It was like hell on earth in this place, especially given the noise. I wrote every day. I wrote 500 plus words a day. I brought 5 yellow legal pads home and other pieces of paper I wrote on. I decided that since I'm in this jail, I will not be a coward. I will not show weakness. I will not be intimidated. I will not allow any of these accused criminals to think I was an easy target. I did not hide in my cell. I watched the television with the other inmates, and that helped pass the time. One fight broke out because 2 inmates wanted control over the television remote. Other fights broke out. I was having breakfast, lunch, and dinner next to convicted felons. One inmate is in jail awaiting trial for the murder of his neighbor. One inmate is an arsonist who burned down a house. One inmate assaulted his wife and sent her to the hospital. He bragged about how he, quote, beat the bitch. The first night I was in jail, and these 2 men are talking in Spanish past midnight. I asked the guy in the next cell, what are these 2 talking about? He told me that they are talking about previous crimes and the crimes they want to commit when they get out. He told me each is a gang member. On June 29th, the jail nurse told me I would be transferred to Rochester Psychiatric Center. I asked, why am I going to a psychiatric center? I don't have a psychiatric illness. I'm not mentally ill. I have all my faculties. She did not answer. I told her if you're sending me out, then the only destination is my residence in Penfield. When I arrived at this center, I met with Dr. Jeremy Smith. I asked this Dr. Smith those aforementioned questions. He also failed to provide me an answer for the transfer. He said I'm transferred for, quote, evaluation, end quote. I asked him for the official document that transferred me to this center. It has his illegible signature and no reason. It is ridiculous. It is ludicrous. I asked him, is this your signature? I'd see this Dr. Smith in the hall at the center, and I'd ask him every time, why am I here? Under what section of New York State or federal law are you a doctor empowered to keep me in this center against my will? 10 plus times I was in this center from June 29th until yesterday. I wrote a letter to Dr. Smith demanding my release. Every one between 250 500 words. This took an enormous amount of time because I had to write it twice to make sure I have a copy of every correspondence sent to this doctor. 2 days ago, I was called to a meeting with this Dr. Smith and 2 nurses. I again demanded my release and told each that this center is a criminal organization in the violation of my constitutional and civil rights. I told this Dr. Smith that if he thinks I'm going to silently assent to this extra-constitutional incursion upon my rights, that he should move out of his house and into one of the rooms in his center. I was subsequently told my release is immediate. I was driven home yesterday at 1 p.m. I spent the day writing this email to you both, as I want you to read these facts and circumstances before we talk on the phone. I'll call tomorrow. I'll answer every question. I will also take the phone to bed with me in case you decide to call me after reading this email. I wrote 5,000 words about this experience on yellow legal pads. I have it broken down into 5 1,000-word sections. I have more to write. I'll call tomorrow. I know you will have questions. I will answer every question. I will take the phone to bed with me in case you call early. The first night in jail, I wrote a sign. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I kept it next to my foam mattress. I am stronger because of this despicable assault on my humanity and dignity. I'm stronger because I have not and will not permit the anger I feel at this injustice to consume me. I'm stronger because I am now home. I love you. I love you both as much as a son can love his mother and father. Chris.